start by acknowledging the Minister for the Federal and European Affairs, International Affairs and Media Affairs of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, Minister Liminski, who was here this morning. The Lord Mayor of Dortmund, Alexander Kaluti, Mr. Klaus Wagner, who was very kind enough to host us for dinner yesterday. Thank you so much. The President of Dortmund Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Heinz Herbert Dossmann, the Deputy Chief Executive, Dortmund Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Wolf Christian Enrich, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being present here this afternoon to listen to my presentation on the economic partners that Africa is looking for, with particular emphasis on Nigeria. Basically, I think it's important to note that, as some of you may be aware, Nigeria is one of the most important countries in Africa. 1 in 5 Africans are Nigerian. The total population in Africa is about 1.3 billion. Nigeria has about 250 million of that population. Currently, we have a total GDP size of about $400 billion, but the plan of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who came into government in 2023, is to at least double the economy to $1 trillion by year 2030. So in another 4 years, and we think is very much achievable. We have been, when we got into government, GDP was growing at less than 1%. Currently, as at Q4 2025, the GDP has increased tremendously to about 4.5%. We want to ramp that up to about 7-8% before the end of this year. The non-oil sector contributes about 96.5% of GDP. The oil sector contributes less than 4% of GDP, but most of our foreign exchange comes from the oil sector, with oil and gas. Nigeria is the largest oil and gas producing nation in Africa. Inflation, due to some of the reforms that we passed when we got into government in 2023, had ramped up to around 40%. This year is down now to around 13%. So we're making good progress. Currency has been quite stable. The median age of Nigeria is just over 18%. Urbanization is also very high. So those are the key parameters for Nigeria. Some of the key things that I'm going to be covering in the next 15 minutes or less would also involve Africa's evolving position. We want to move from extraction to industrialization, and we think Germany is a strategic partner. How do we facilitate this? Nigeria's role as a continental anchor is also very important, and the sort of partners, economic partners that Nigeria and Africa is looking for. And we want to propose a new partnership model, and then I would move to the conclusion. I think I've touched on some of this already, but energy transition is very, very important for redefining mineral demands. The supply chain security is now very strategic, particularly considering some of the developments that are going on with China, the US, and even European countries. Industrial economics and diversification is critical. Africa holds 30% of the global mineral reserves, and we think there is a massive opportunity for us to work together in that regard. Nigeria also has one of the largest reserves of lithium, gold, copper, cobalt, and iron ore, across the African continent. Historically, for decades, Africa supplied raw materials to power global growth. We had short-term commodity traders. We extracted mines to ports and took them out, but we want to change all of that model. There was a relationship, no technology transfer, so Africa was getting poorer, even though we were, in possession of critical minerals that were powering some of the developments in the world. We want to change that model to seek long-term development partners. I've had several meetings here today, and I think that most of the people that I've met with today, almost all of the people have that mindset in terms of trying to come in to provide long-term development opportunities and partnerships where we have a win-win situation. Processing and beneficiation is also key and important. Industrial ecosystems and workforce development is critical. Environmental, social, and governmental opportunities to ensure that the local communities are carried along are also things that are very important. Why do we see Germany as a natural strategic partner? Like it was mentioned earlier this morning, it's my first time in Germany, and I, as a high-level government official from Nigeria and Africa, realized that it was very, very important because Germany has some comparative advantage, including industrial precision, advanced methodology and engineering, strong medium-sized manufacturing networks, green technologies, and disciplined, structured long-term capital. In Africa, we represent scale, strategic minerals, expanding regional markets. Our markets are getting bigger. Industrial growth potential is also very, very important. Nigeria stands as Africa's largest market, a gateway to West Africa and the ECOWAS sub-region, key driver for inter-trade Africa, major source of iron ore, lithium, limestone, copper, and other strategic mineral resources. Under our President Tinubu, he established the Ministry of Steel Development in 2023, which I oversee, to revamp the steel and aluminum sector. We're looking at very key advanced regulatory reforms, which are in very, very advanced stages. And we are strengthening policies for promoting beneficiation over just raw imports and to encourage industrial clusters and development. Long term, we want our partners in Germany to come in not just for a few months, but for 10, 15, 20, 25 years, because we want a partnership that is going to create jobs, you create growth, and you'll be able to build wealth for both countries, both Germany and Nigeria, over the long term, and create local value addition. Infrastructure, things that would enable us to improve our rail lines, our ports, logistical networks, gas supply. Nigeria also has the biggest gas reserves in Africa and one of the largest in the world. Commitment to responsible mining is also critical. Community inclusion, environmental stewardship has been critical. Part of the obligation for myself as a senior government official is to ensure things that have to do with barriers to entry. Tariff barriers are reduced significantly. We reduce regional value chains, create fiscal incentives, industrial goods that can increasingly drive Africa intra-Africa trade. Africa's ambition is clear. We want to increase trade. We want to deepen industrial capacity and become a competitive manufacturing platform, serving Europe and other global markets. So German investors who enter today are well positioned to enjoy high returns on investments, but also meet some of their demands and obligations. As usual, we always campaign that Africa is looking for partnerships, not charity. We don't want dependency. We want industrial competitiveness. We are not retreating from global trade. We want to upgrade our positions across Europe, the EU region, and across the world. And we want to extend the continental invitation to German investors who are in this room and beyond. If you look at some of the data in terms of how Africa trades, the patterns, partners, and products, most of the Africa's total trade has increased significantly. So if you look at our total trade, we're 1.5 trillion US dollars as our 2023 numbers. However, there's a trade deficit in terms of what is imported. What we're importing is about 699 billion versus 614 billion. Our leading partner right now is China. We want to have more partners because China has continued to solidify its position as Africa's trading partner, accounting for over 40% of imports. If you look at some of the total trade values between 2022 and 2024, we have continued to see a significant rebound in 2024. The imports, we have China as number 1, EU as number 2, India and USA occupying number 3 and number 4. Our exports, EU is still our largest partner in terms of trades for exports, then China, India, and US. And 60 to 70% of Africa's exports are still fuel, minerals, and metals. And, we want the big industries to come into that equation as well. The intra-African trade versus the outside trade. Intra-Africa trade, unfortunately, is lower than trade with the outside world. Intra-Africa trade is less than 20% compared to about 70-80% with trading with Europe and Asia. We have come up with the Africa Free Trade Agreement, Continental Agreement, so as to increase trading blocks between Africa, whether it's ECOWAS or AMU or all the various trading blocks, to ensure that we're able to increase the quota. And in conclusion to the presentation, Africa and Nigeria in particular were seeking economic partners that would foster structural transformation, industrialization, and sustainable growth, rather than just raw minerals extraction. So we want companies to come and set up processing plants, come and set up plans that would help create business and employment opportunities, technology transfers, value addition to commodities, and support the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. Africa, and indeed Nigeria, welcomes German investors to leverage the fledgling investment atmospheres enabled by articulate legal and regulatory framework. We are also putting in place policies to ensure fiscal incentives, tax benefits, ease of doing business, easy entry. You are able to also take out your funds easily and create opportunities for investors to be able to enter and exit. So we look forward to welcoming German investors to Nigeria, and I look forward to more engagements with the German investors that are in this room and beyond. Thank you. Welcome to Nigeria and welcome to Africa. God bless you all.